You acted in one of my favorite all-time movies, Above the Rim, with Tupac.
So I go to the audition, and I can play basketball, so, you know, man, I'm about to go crazy in this basketball team. Nobody could dunk, nobody could even do no kind of real hooping at all. So I was in there, literally, like you see in the movie, punking mugs. Cause I'm from Chicago, so I was a little rough, you know, in there, right? Man, I'm talking about I'm taking off. Boom, pushing up. And so, like, when I play on boom, and I'm pushing the ground and stuff, literally, Jeff Pollack, who was the director, rest in peace, he came running on the stage, literally. This is how I found out I got the role, right? He ran on the stage, like, say you, me, he ran on stage. The director ran on stage, you got this, you got this, you got this.
Here we are, season 6. The first one in Toronto, 2018.
Yeah.
Feels like it actually does feel like a long time ago.
Here's to season 6.
Let's make some more unforgettable moments.
Only in the shop.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Drama is easier than comedy.
You think? That's a good question.
That's why you look to be humorous. If you're a dramatic actor, you should be looking for the humor to me. You dig? Because if you're looking for the humor, then you're broadening the role because it's a drama.
Yeah.
So drama is, comedy without punchlines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no matter who you play, a killer, you better be funny or at least humorous.
Joe Pesci in Goodfellas is humorous.
No, that is what I'm saying. That's
mean?
exactly what I mean.
Because he's a killer and he's
That's exactly what I mean.
But
That's exactly
when he
what I
comes
mean.
on the screen, you like laugh at his...
You laugh.
That's what you mean, I got it.
That's exactly what I mean.
You agree with that too? Drama's easier than comedy?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the actor, because I mean, somebody who grew up doing the comedy thing might feel a little bit off when they have to do drama. It's just like theater, and like it's like theater and film. Like you start off doing theater and you're like larger than life, and then you come to film and you gotta be a little smaller. But starting from film and going to theater is like you gotta learn how to be bigger than what you always...
Explain that for a novice who doesn't understand it really. When you say theater, you have to be bigger.
I started in theater and I went to like my first TV audition, and the woman said, "Oh, you make really strong choices, but that I was too expressive." And I remember being like, how can I be expressive? That's real life. Like, I'm expressive in real life, so how could I not be real? And then I read a book called Acting in Film and TV by Michael Caine, and he talked about how theater has the same exact intensity as film. Is just almost like if you shake up soda and you open it like that, it's gonna go like this. But if you slowly open it, then it allows it to like ooze out. And I think that's what it was for me, what I understood about you. I could still have the same emotions as big as they want to be like in theater, but when it comes to film, I'm letting it slowly ooze out of the eyes and how I speak.
But that's a good point though, because your eyes are so important in film. Doing a close-up, obviously there's no close-ups in theater, right?
That's true, yeah.
So you're doing a close-up, you might be doing something that looks bugged out for a camera. Because the camera is seeing, especially the high-def camera see everything. That's a great point, Michael Caine, of like seeping out the feeling, the expressions actually. Because you could be doing expressions that pop off too large and people think you whack.
Yeah. Yes. My rule of thumb is this. If I'm going in a room, for a movie, a TV show, my rule of thumb is this. I go in big. I'll go in big. You know why?
Because they could always...
When you go big and they tell you, oh, that was great, pull back a little bit. Everybody knows how to pull back a little bit.
Good one.
But you go in low and they say, you don't know how much. Now you're doing so much that they're like, thank you very much.
But no,
it's easier.
JB,
Everybody knows how to pull back a little bit. You know what I mean?
JB, when they hit you with the thank you very much, you know you didn't get it?
You know damn well you didn't get it. You just went so high that they're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
My first like big TV experience was with David Simon on a show called Show Me a Hero. And Alexa Fogel, obviously, she's the casting director for all of his things. And I did this audition. I made a choice, and she was like, that was weird, but we're gonna keep it. Yeah, we're gonna keep it. I said, no, I mean, I can do it. She said, no, we're gonna keep it. And like slowly took the mic off of me, and I just remember being like, I must have messed that up. And then like, I didn't get a call back for like 2 months. And then finally they were like, oh no, it was actually like a audience or producer's favorite that you did this big thing. And then when I went to my callback, I did the same thing. And then they was like, okay, that's great, now do it like, and they pulled it back. But I was, like you said, I was able to like pull it back.
You can be big and actually fake almost, like, because a lot of real is so big in real life that, you know, it would be like fake.
I'm so glad you said that. You said being big in real life and it coming across in the scene. You acted in one of my favorite all-time movies, Above the Rim, with Tupac. What was, I mean, iconic.
Classic.
What was that experience like being across from Pac?
That was my first film. That was my first film. So for me, I was, and that's the first thing I auditioned for. So I was just struck in general.
Your first audition was Above the Rim?
My first movie audition.
Wow.
But I was in school too. I studied theater. I went to NYU and studied theater. So I was a student at the time. And I got the role through my brother, older brother, just meeting an agent, being like, I think my brother could do this. There was basketball and I can play basketball, so you know, I just needed to act, really. Because a lot of actors can't really hoop, you know what I'm saying? So they're gonna pretend like they can hoop, but it looked fake. It looked fake. It looked bad, right? So I go to the audition. Man, I had a glossy photo that I took. Like, it's not the right picture, right? Resume and all that. I'm in school.
He got his passport photo.
I had a lot of confidence, though. I had the confidence.
Okay.
I get the audition. I go to it. Then I get the call back, and the lady called me. Her name is Mary. I forget her last name. One of the casting assistants. She called and was like, "I think you're gonna get this role." And then I was like, "Oh." I'm about to get a movie in this? You serious? You talking it's the 90s, you know what I'm saying? I'm mad young. I'm like, what? I'm off the block. They said I'm at the movie. Okay. So now I'm charged, you know? So the callback was basketball. So I was like, man, I'm about to go crazy in this basketball. Nobody could dunk. Nobody could even do no kind of real hooping at all.
Yeah.
So I was in there, literally like you see in the movie, punking mugs. Because I'm from Chicago, so I was a little rough, you know, in there, right? And especially that time in my life, I'm probably more incorrigible than the rest of everybody, influenced by my, you know, in my Chicago environment. So, man, I'm talking about I'm taking off. Boom, pushing up. And so, like, when I play on boom, and I'm pushing up the ground and stuff, literally, Jeff Pollack, who was the director, rest in peace, he came running on the stage, literally. This is how I found out I got the role, right? He ran on the stage, like say you, me, he ran on the stage. The director ran on stage, you got this, you got this, you got it. I said, oh. Then I leave, man, and I'm on the A train, New York, and I'm going home like, man, this in the 90s ain't no, like, all this crazy. I can't wait to tell my OG, I'm gonna tell my mom what's going on. And my mom received it like, oh, okay. And show me a movie, mug. You can talk, but show me a movie.
Did you know Pac was in the movie when you were...
Now, at the time, it was Tretch.
That's right.
Forrest Whitaker, not Leon and Tupac. Shout out Leon.
And I also heard, correct me if I'm wrong, Pac gets shot towards the end of the movie?
He did get shot in that movie. Right. He got shot at the end of that. And there was like, they started to make decisions based on that. So one of the decisions was there was a lookalike who was his stand-in who just happened to just look very much like him. Wow. So at the end of the movie, there are spots where it's not Tupac, mainly in the game.
Wow.
When you see the game, he just missed the game. There was more for him to do in the basketball game at the end.
Gotcha.
You see him just off on the sideline, yeah, do this, do that, but there was more for him to do. Instead, they ended up using a lookalike.
Wow. Did you get to know him well?
I got to know Tupac extremely well. Yeah, I knew Tupac really well. I talked to him up until he died, 2 weeks before he died, because he was shot.
Wow.
But my memories of him that are personal are from Above the Rim experience, obviously. And I think that was his second movie. And Tupac wasn't iconic at the time.
Of course,
So we talking about him from this perspective, like in this era.
Yeah.
But Tupac at the time, so, and I'm like an MC. I'm an MC. Now, I always say I'm an MC, it's like a game. I'm an MC till I die, I'm an MC.
Yeah.
I'm an MC, right? So at the time, I was just like, I didn't care who the rapper was. I was just kind of like, I don't care who you are, like.
Right?
I don't care. Because that's kind of the persona.
I do this too.
That's how you have to be as an MC.
That's how you gotta be, right? That's how you
gotta
be.
be.
Right, so it's like, that's how I felt. And plus, being from Chicago, you know, we kind of known as haters, you know what I'm saying? We hate on you until you Jordan. You gotta be Jordan, okay? Or LeBron, or some top-notch person for them to be like, you all right.
To give it up.
You gotta give up anything. You gotta
Give
be
it
like
up.
top-notch. It's a little ridiculous.
Do y'all feel like the whole world, do you feel like the whole world is like that now a little bit? Like you gotta go really far for them to give it up to you?
I think a bit, because social media
That's
plays
what
a
I'm
big
saying,
role in that, because you feel like you can touch anybody right now. Yeah.
Does that affect you and your decisions you make career-wise?
Of course, because as artists, you have to find a way to keep yourself exclusive, you know? So you just have to find a way to live around the times that are changing,
Yeah.
you know? So that's how I see it.
Yeah, because I was seeing even something when you were, people were giving you shit about not having your accent anymore. I was like, this is like, come on, people, really?
The accent?
Yeah,
Man.
but you did a video.
Accent can't live. It's not going away. The only thing is that when I'm here, though, it's pretty hard for other people to understand me. So if I speak through my accent, a lot of people are going to be like, huh, you know, which makes me repeat myself over and over again. So in order to avoid that, you just speak standard English.
Just tone it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I thought that you couldn't hear my accent even when I'm speaking standard English, but they said that no, it's still pretty potent, so.
So right now, are you speaking standard English?
I am speaking standard.
I am speaking standard. Ooh,
Am I not?
Accent's great. I hear her.
Yeah, you heard that.
Yeah, I hear your accent for the
I
first
can't
show.
tell
I
you.
can.
I don't know.
But somebody,
Yes.
people were giving her on social about this, which is like, it's also a little like,
What do we do? It's 2023.
yeah, like,
People just
Doesn't make you
talk
any
these
less
days, though.
anything.
Because anybody can have a social media, so they can just say whatever, even if it's not true.
yeah.
You know, which, I mean, once they talk, it's good for everybody, I feel.
But it's also, social is good to use too, right? Because you can,
Yes, because it helps me to promote my music real easily.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I feel like it was harder for artists because they have to be popping out, doing this run around, do that, going out, giving CDs, promoting, you know, touching almost everybody who they can touch. Now it's just a click. And you touch so many people across the world, and that's how I blew up, through social media.
yeah,
It's hard. It's hard, man, because, you know, having been in this game 37 years and having been around for the inception of black comedy, when it hit that level, I'm talking about after the Priors, the Red Foxes, the next wave, when Def Comedy Jam hit,
Oh my God.
you know, you gotta realize, years before that, we were already doing it.
Yeah.
We were doing it. National Black Theater in Harlem, that's where I started at. You know, the Apollo was doing their thing. Cotton Club had comedians. Everybody had comedians. And then all of a sudden, black comedy hit fire. Now, I'm gonna tell you.
And it was on HBO, that helped too, yeah.
Oh, that was the next level when it got on HBO. But it was a different time. Right now, you young people are at the mercy of what people think about you constantly. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
It's like driving. You know, you guys can pull your phone out, you know, now and pull up navigation, your phone will tell you how to get there. We had MapQuest. We had to have a piece of paper in our hand, you know, make sure we make the right turn, you know, pull over. We had to pull over for phone calls. But it's a different mindset. You didn't have to listen to the chatter of people telling you can't do it. You whack, you this, you that. We didn't have that chatter in our head. So we were oblivious.
Yeah.
And we were fearless because we didn't have no fear. We were creating something that was amazing. It was different. Now you guys gotta look and see what people think about you. Oh, what they say? What they say?
Yeah.
So you don't even know.
Which gives people more anxiety and
different.
made them fall into depression these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like that played a part in like whether or not how I had to approach doing Swarm. You know, I was used to playing characters that were easier to digest and accept.
Yeah.
People liked me the way that they saw me in that way.
Yeah.
And so when I was presented with this, originally, Donald wanted me to play the role that Chloe Bailey ends up playing, Marissa, which is the sister, passes away in the first episode. But I was like, I mean, I read the script and I was like, man, I want to play Dre. And then he was like,
What was it about?
Why did you feel that way?
What's with the character?
just because I knew that I didn't want to catch up to my own self as an actor. I
What does that
wanted
mean?
I wanted to feel challenged. I wanted to be like I watched Heath Ledger and the Joker and Hilary Swank and Boys Don't Cry and all of those type of films that we as like Black people, Black women don't necessarily get those opportunities where I was playing the best friend or the baby mom or
The
whatever.
easy ones.
Yeah, and I'm like, and so all the roles that I played, I love them. They also are, even though they might have a hard exterior, they're really warm and like loving in the inside, and so people could say, "Oh, I like her, I like that."
Yeah.
And that's this idea that women have to be likable.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't want to put myself in a box. I was like, I did Transformers, that's about to come out, and so I was like, people are really gonna be like, oh, we want to see her like this
So sweet.
only.
But by the way, you are the
And I
first
didn't
Black
wanna-
woman to be a starring role in that franchise. Right?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Just for a pause, but keep going.
I
I'm sorry.
appreciate that. But so it made me say, I read some of the script and I knew where she was gonna go. She was gonna dress dress male presenting at the end and all of the stuff. And I was like, I know I can do that. And I just
Yeah.
want the opportunity to do it.
But-
So I asked him and he said, well, if that's the role you want, that's the role you get.
What you did with Sam, Judas, like, you steal the scene the minute you're in it, which is, I know, kind of the competitiveness of being an actor, right?
Yeah.
Do you know you're stealing the scene when you do it, or do you see it later? Because you pop like, oh, I want to see more of her.
Honestly, I don't think about, people are like, oh, were you nervous to do it with Sam? It's like, not really. I've been wanting to do this for my whole life. And like, I come from East New York, so I'm ready to, when it's time, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So I tend not to do that because I don't want to get in my own head and then not do the character service. My character in Last Days of Ptolemy Gray was not scared of him at all. She had to go toe-to-toe with him, so I'm not gonna come in here and be like, oh my God, that's Sam Jackson. I'm gonna say, all right, it's time. I respect him, of course, but I'm not gonna, I've been wanting this my whole life. And now it's like,
You always
time.
wanted to be an actress.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you guys are in a scene, is it competitive?
It's like my choices come from, okay, if you bring up Curb, I gotta make a choice immediately, right?
Tell us what that means.
We
How does
we
Curb
don't
shot?
do rehearsals. When we do our blocking and a line is shot up, it's just blah, 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 blah. That's all we can say. We can't
And there's
do,
no scripts, right?
we can't do any lines.
Yes.
Whatever's in your head, gotta stay in your
No
head
scripts?
until the...
Listen,
Wow.
explain how Curb is made.
Curb Enthusiasm is an improvised show. So we get an outline with 8, 9 pages outline that's gonna outline the whole episode. And we got all 10 episodes have an outline. No dialogue.
Zero dialogue.
Zero dialogue.
You gotta know
So
yourself.
everything is
You gotta know yourself.
everything you
Character
say,
development.
which is amazing because there's nothing better than hearing something for the first time.
Like
Whether
your
it's
reaction.
funny or whether it's dramatic.
Your
Yeah.
real
First time
reaction.
it's like
It's natural.
You get a natural reaction
Yeah, yeah.
from it. A natural reaction. So my thing is this. I choose every scene with Larry David, whether I'm gonna have his back or go against him.
Oh, that's a good point.
You go into the scene making that
But by the
choice.
way, this is going to change the whole episode.
Yeah,
If
100%,
Leon
yeah.
decides to go with it.
If I try to go with him on his BS, I'm with him on his BS throughout the whole episode. But if I choose to go against him, what's the better argument? Me versus somebody else? Me and Larry versus somebody? Or me and Larry are going through what my choice is going to be?
And he doesn't know what direction you're gonna go.
No,
He's got a
he
reaction.
he does not know what I'm gonna do.
Wow.
That's just
And
amazing.
sometimes
I'm
he
amazed by
thinks
this.
we'll do the first few, and then he'll laugh or he'll smirk a lot, and I'll just say, I'm gonna change it on this. I'm gonna change it on this.
I'm going to change it.
I change it on his, and then he don't know what's coming.
So it's
And then you get
competitive
mad,
then.
like,
It's
It's
competitive.
competitive.
Yeah.
That's my
In that
point.
way.
They're comedians.
So it's like this.
And y'all doing this on the go, though.
We're on the go. We're doing it on the go.
Now, JB, question for you. You wrote on SNL. Did that help you? Did that prepare you in a way for this or no?
Nah, man, I was doing all this forever. Back in New York, when we used to have a Black Comedy Awards in New York. It was just for New York comedians. It was real cool because all the comics would come. It was really fly. I won twice for Best Impromptu Comedian.
Oh, wow.
Before anything I was on. I wasn't even on TV yet. I would always go on stage and I would improvise the moment. If you give me a certain microphone, a certain chair, a certain curtain, if there's a curtain behind me or there's a brick wall behind me, I use everything at my disposal. And people, they really love seeing me because I wasn't robotic on stage. I would address the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? And one night I was on stage performing and I could see outside. It was a glass, big glass you could see outside. And I was on stage performing and they was towing my car away. I could see the, yo. No, I'm up there killing. I'm killing them.
And in that moment, you have a choice to make.
I'm like, yeah. Then I heard it go. I was like, yo, they tore my car away. Everybody, they crazy as hell. Like, no, they tore my. I had to run out. I threw the mic on them. I ran outside. They didn't see me like this. I'm like, yo, man. Look at the sign, man. Tuesday and Thursdays, man. Yo, it was the funniest thing. Then I came back. And that became part of the show. Comedians could take anything that ever happened, pain in their life.
And make it funny.
And make you laugh your
That's my favorite part about it.
You know what I mean? And we find that balance, and we can do it. And we can go the opposite direction. Some comedians make great actors.
With Swarm, I feel like the physicality that I got to do with the character made her funny, but I didn't set out to be like, oh, this character's gonna be funny. It was just the things that she did. And I wonder if there's a difference between being able to be a comedian with punchlines and being a physical comedian.
That's a great question.
There's two different unique styles.
It's a great question.
I'm more of a physical comedian.
Yes.
Physicality is my thing. I love it. I'm painting pictures on stage. I make you see things that aren't there. You know, I did a show one night. It was like a one-man show kind of style, and in the scene, I knocked some guy out, and he fell on the floor. I finished. I still performed my whole show, and then halfway, like another 10 minutes later, I walk across the stage, and I stepped over him. The crowd was like, "Ooh." He remembered, he knocked the dude out.
That's
the dude was still on him. But that's the thing of, that stage becomes a world, and they're watching it, and you're putting things there that they can't see. You see them, but they can't see it. Punchline comedians, they rely on their timing. The
pauses, like you said.
Pauses, the lines gotta bow, a certain way they say
physical.
it. They're more robotic.
Yes.
But they're also subject to relying heavily on the joke working. The joke got to land every time.
At the
when
right
the joke
point.
don't land, it changes. That's my best bit. They didn't laugh hard enough at my best one I thought in my head was my killer.
JB, do you have
So now-
something in the chamber? Like, if something doesn't hit, you got something in the back pocket?
I try not to ever get to that point if I can.
But also what you do, which is very hard on stand-up comedy, which I always admire, is the transition bit to bit. Meaning, if a comedian's on stage for 1 hour, they have to make you laugh.
Yeah.
They have to get from this bit to that bit.
I try to write every bit in threes. This happened, but then this happened. But what if this happens?
Yes.
And then I still have the ability to improvise, because I go by what I hear. If I hear somebody doing this, or I did a show one night in Chicago. I swear, this was one of the wild nightclubs. Man, I was on that bad boy, killing them, right? And this dude stood up in the back of the room and said, God, get that mother off stage before he kills somebody.
Really?
I'll never forget that night, man. And people started turning around laughing at him because it was so crazy. Somebody get his off stage before he kills somebody. Because some nights you get that, and you got these people in the palm of your hand to the point where you say, God damn, they laughing at this one.
Yes.
Wait till I hit him with the next one. Yeah. And I don't like to plan it like that, because I become a hostage to the joke.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I'd rather be a hostage to the moment that we are all experiencing at the same time.
Performance is different, though. We improvise a lot, too, on stage because an audience is just an audience.
Yeah, exactly.
A live audience is just a live audience, and each audience is completely different. You can't just be saying that, okay, let's play some songs and get out of here, because you have a time limit. Of
course.
You have to sit on that stage and sing from start to finish, even when people are looking at you like this. You know, that's when you improvise, though.
That's when you improvise.
That's when you improvise. You have to at least say something to connect with them. Sometimes I go into countries where a lot of people don't know who I am. Yeah, I can be there just singing the songs, but I gotta stop at a moment and talk. They don't know me. They don't know my songs. I still gotta find a way to connect with them, you know? And so sometimes I can be looking at somebody in the crowd, compliment them, tell a little joke here, bring somebody on stage, make them feel a part. I think as creators and just as actresses and actors and just entertainers, point blank period, you have it in you. You just have to, you know, it's natural.
As you write, like, what is your approach to writing your punchlines or making sure something lands that didn't land before?
I think what I do is try to make it real, authentic, things that people go through, very relatable. That's how I feel, you know? I've been through that. I find that funny because it's such a norm for us to be going through some things. And as an artist on stage, you're there as the voice to speak one as many, you know? So I think you just have to have relatable to real punchline.
How did you get the role for Curb? I know your wife also manifested it, right?
She manifested it.
But what was the audition like?
I walked into that audition, into the room, first of all, and everybody I knew was there. I didn't know that you had to improvise with Larry. My process is this. I go in the room as the character. I don't go in the room as myself, because I can drive better if I go in the room as a character. I come in the room, I'm doing the whole mannerisms and everything. They look at me like, what the? What's this? Like they all look confused. I said, okay, Larry, let's do this. We'll improvise, baby. Let's go. I said, I don't know, anything can happen. I might slap you in the face, I don't know. We're gonna improvise, see where we go at. Larry looked at the producers like,
How did your wife manifest?
she told me we would watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. We loved the show. And we would watch it all the time. And I said, I would love to be on this show one day. And she said, you're gonna be on that show one day. I could see you and Larry together.
Wow.
And it just was this thing that was supposed to happen in that way. But me being aggressive and sticking to how I think and driving allowed him to see something different than what everybody else who was gonna come in after me was gonna do. They said, the producers said they didn't know who the character was until I came in the room.
You created the character. That's
I made that dude up.
First audition.
Yeah, and I knew people like him. And I said, oh, I know who this dude is.
Yeah, so you believe in manifesting, or was it moving?
Everything that happened to me right now, I've manifested.
Love that.
I saw you talk about literally your car. You said you used to walk to work. 9 months, you just used to walk to work.
When I was a kid, I said I want 2 vehicles as my dream car. Being a girl from poverty growing up, I said I wanted an X6. Because in Jamaica, X6 and Beamer is like, I want an X6 and I want a Lambo. I got both. I don't even want another vehicle to be like, oh, yeah, I'll get to the Lambo. No, I'm so patient.
Yeah.
I'll work. Because I have a goal. When I have a goal, I work towards that goal. I don't be like, oh, I'm going around here and then I come back to the goal.
You've done tracks with a lot of Kanye, Meg Thee Stallion. When you're on a track with an artist, are you and your competing too? Are you feeling that like, I want to win this track?
Sometimes it depends. Like, sometimes it can be offensive if you send a version and then when you hear somebody else's verse, you go back and you change it. It's like, some people can get offended by that. So it really...
I've heard rappers talk about that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but it's natural though, you know? That it pushes you to go harder and it makes the track itself better for both of you.
You get a track back, you're like, oh, hell no.
And the worst is if I send her the track, she send it back with her. And then the first time she hear my new joint is on the radio, she's like, that's not that. That's me.
Yeah.
I would listen to you first, though. I would send you the track.
Yeah.
We doing this. You do your thing. Oh, that's what she came with? Watch this.
Right.
But why they do it the other way? Like,
I mean, I don't know. Some people, it's just like, it depends on who you are as a person. Like, if you're gonna go on the track and put out your best, just put out your best, you know? Whether or not they come back clapping or not, but if you decide to change it because you're so competitive, then it's still on you. Regardless, as long as I feel like it's not coming from a place where it's like malicious or you're trying to outshine somebody purposely, when you're supposed to be working together, then that's when it becomes a problem. When you're just doing it to be like, oh, it's a fun competition to make the song better for both of us, I see no problem with it at all.
That's why I never compete as an actor. Never. It's not a sport.
I don't even knew that actors compete.
They compete, though,
Sure
they do.
you
Like,
do.
I've had actors, I won't mention them, but...
Why not? Go in the shop, man.
All right. Because of Maverick, I'm gonna say it, okay?
Okay.
So it's Terrence Howard.
There you go.
Who is my boy? Man, Terrence will tell you right in your face, you know I'm gonna kill you in the scene, right?
There's some actors I know that do that.
And he's a great actor. So you
I
just...
like that he's at least letting you know.
Oh yeah, Terrence is straightforward. Like, he's straightforward about life. Like, but he definitely will tell you in the scene straight away, like, I'm gonna kill you in this scene, boy. He like to look at you. He like his eyes a lot, right? Yeah. So people who like their eyes like to stare with them up. So he be looking at you. No, I'm gonna kill you in this scene. I'm gonna kill you in the scene.
But how do you compete if you guys aren't playing the same role?
No, we're not playing the same role, but he's competing at the dynamic of the scene. Being who after the scene is seen, he's the one you remember the most.
Or as a viewer, who do I pay attention to in the scene? There's three people in the scene. Like I was telling her when I was saying scene ceiling, like she's in a scene and I can't stop looking. Even when she stops talking, and I'm like, I want to hear more from her. That's what it means.
But still in the scene is not a thing, really. Like,
True.
I'm a fan of Denzel Washington, right? My whole class is like, that dude is Sidney Poitier for us, right? He's the guy who, you say, okay, I'm an actor because of him, right? So when first time I had to do a scene with him, dude, I had like, a little bit of chills, because it's kind of like, I guess...
This is Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans.
No, that's
I'm not trying to steal a scene from Denzel Washington, that's ridiculous, or steal a scene at all. Because in theater, someone stealing a scene is called a ham. You gotta really jump up and down and steal a scene. If you're trained in theater, no one steals scenes when you come from theater.
It's like too, it's more support in a way. Like I knew that Last Days of Tyler McGrady was really important to Sam. He'd been trying to get it done for 10 years. His family suffers from Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that. And he really wanted me for the role. And in fact, I was like, I don't know if I can do it, because I was trying to do Transformers and they were saying that I couldn't do both at the same time. But I was like, I'm gonna be still, I'm gonna let God do what he does, and then I got to do both, right? So, but when I got there and like the first day I was on set with Sam, I said a line and he texted me and he was like, when you said that line, a weight was lifted off my shoulders, because I knew it was in the right hands.
I also think like, there's something beautiful about like a humility. Like, again, I'm not saying this because you're here, one of my other cult classics, Paid in Full, right? And I think you found a way in that character to like, it's a real topic, a real time. It's the jungle and your humility and you're like just zen almost in that role. You steal every scene in that. Like, what was that Paid in Full experience like making that movie?
When you portraying like a real life person, she said it many times, like, you don't want to do a disservice to anyone. So I know AZ, the actual person, I met with AZ and I felt like I could be like him, just no other way I could say it. Like, I just felt I could be like him. I mean, we all felt obligated to being sincere. Cameron wanted to be sincere to the characters, and that don't always happen.
I find it funny. We've talked about cultivating talent, talked a lot about basketball, a lot about your career, working with you on Shooting Stars.
Shooting Stars,
a basketball player we may all have heard of in LeBron James' story.
Oh, okay.
Talk about what's that been like, Shooting Stars?
Shooting Stars was wonderful because I like to work with young talent, like kids and stuff like that, right? So the young people were just so much fun to work with because they're just full of energy all the time. They have to be almost brought down energetically, right? It's another true story. I get nervous in those things because you have to meet these people. You don't want to do a disservice to people. And when I met Coach, I was like, I'm not a lot like this dude at all. I'm not like him. This dude might cry right now. I'm not shedding no tears no time soon, He was difficult. It's difficult for me. It's just a challenging role for me, that's all. Because he was he's such he's a good guy, such a good person. And I'm a good guy, nice guy and all that. I don't make myself look like I'm not. I am. I'm a very nice person. No, I am. I'm probably too nice. But he's just different. He's a very unique person, you know. And then LeBron's iconic, beyond iconic, and historical in a sense.
I've also found it super interesting in your genre of dancehall. There's people that are like, we want you to do you, but not to you. In dancehall, it's such a traditional thing and so personal to a culture. They may not want a new version of it, right? It's like, no, this is how we do it. And you as a new artist, do you feel that pressure?
What? This is my life that I'm living right now. But guess what? It doesn't matter what anybody say, right? Because once you're destined for something and you are chosen, it is what it is. I wouldn't have gotten this far to have the opportunity to be like, oh, I want to mix it up now if I wasn't chosen to do this. When you look at my country, there's not like 1,000 of us that make it out. No, be like 10, 20, you know? So you gotta be like, okay, this is what I'm chosen for. God wouldn't choose me if I was not strong enough to do it. He knows that I can handle the pressure of the world, of the audience. I know that, and that's why I'm still here doing it. Because I feel like I'm chosen. It's my destiny regardless. I've seen this thing from I was a kid like this.
What's the version of your dancehall that's different than old school dancehall?
So my dancehall that we do these days is more like, it's mixed with more melodies and trap and different sounds. Back in the days, you will hear like a steel or a little drum, and then an artist is just like doing this slow, like dun, dun, dun. The type of music we're doing now, it goes like this. It's more flowy on the beat. Yeah, you feel me? So, but what I'm doing now is like, when I came to America, it's like when I go to the clubs, people are still enjoying the old school dancehall. The new dancehall has not broken ground here. So
It has not.
It has not. Wow. There's a lot of artists who came up that you don't know about. I'm just lucky to be one of them that has, you know, a image and a face that I market myself in a certain type of way where, you know, other people get to know about me, you know, because I have been doing new school dancehall. But ever since I came here in America, I said, wait, how are you guys still listening to these songs and be like, oh, this is the jam? Like, we hardly even listen to that in Jamaica.
Absolutely true.
How are you guys still stuck on this type of music? Don't get me wrong, vintage, very legendary.
It'd be like us going to another country, they're like, I said a hip, hop, I said a hip, and we're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Wait, yes.
It's the same thing. So I take it up on myself to be like, nah, I gotta help my culture expand and help you guys catch on to what's happening down here. So I try to mix both.
That's dope.
It's crazy because I personally think Jamaica is the greatest country on the planet. Here's why. There's 7 billion people on the planet. They have 3 million people on that one island, small little island.
Yeah.
But I've not been everywhere in the world, but I've been a lot of places. You cannot go anywhere in the world and be like, yo, where's the reggae spot? I've been in Beijing, Hong Kong,
For sure.
Yeah.
Poland, Amsterdam, New York, LA. You can go anywhere and be like, yo, where's the reggae club tonight? They'd be like, oh, it's on Tuesday. But there's always a
Yeah,
spot.
always a reggae.
It's on
Or you'd be like,
Tuesday.
yo, you be in anywhere in the world, you'd be like, yo, where can I get a Korean beef patty or something? They'd be like, oh, down on the street, go to
Yeah, we know that we have major influence, right? But I feel like we, as dancehall community in Jamaica, if we unified more, we would reach even further. We inspire lots of genres, hip hop, reggaeton,
Everything.
almost everything.
Almost everything.
Everything. You feel me?
Rock,
Afro
everything.
and dancehall is like
And
almost
rock
cousin.
music, everything. They
Almost
copy Bob.
everything.
How do you feel about like the Afro beats now, like being
I
the
love
thing?
it.
It's great.
To me, Africans and Afrobeat to dancehall is like brothers and sisters. Like, we move as one. I have a big fan base in Africa because Africa really tunes into dancehall.
Jamaica's also very influential because one vein of it is really New York. So hip hop is, you know, Jamaica.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
It's a fact.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's either the offspring of the culture or the culture itself.
By the way, he talked about working with young actors. You talked about you wanted to be a child actor, but you're glad it didn't happen to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I just think about longevity in a way, and I'm definitely real passionate, very Brooklyn, and I think I had to to take the time to understand myself a little bit better, understand how to navigate my emotions. But I was thinking earlier about manifestation. That was one thing that I did a lot. I journaled a lot and I wrote a lot of things. And one thing that I saw on Facebook today, 11 years ago, today I wrote something like, I hear six gunshots out my window while I'm trying to sleep. No wonder why I run from bullets in my dreams. And I said, like, all I could see is my Brooklyn residency. No wonder why, like, Sunset Boulevard seemed so far from me. Oh, wow. But now when I did Swarm, literally my face was everywhere in Hollywood. It had the biggest billboard on Sunset Boulevard. And I wrote this when I was in East New York being like, damn, the bullets. I'm working at the movie theater, have to work on Friday nights and come home from Manhattan to East New York at like 4 o'clock in the morning, cold, and being like, this is actually dangerous, but I can't even think about that because I have to do it anyway. And just remember like, oh, I can't wait till one day I'm gonna be on the screen, I'm gonna be, and I just put a lot of energy towards that.
Yeah.
I think I was like that too, just as a young person, and probably we all were like a little bit like that. Like, I never felt like I wouldn't be exactly this person, I didn't have the obstacle of a parent or somebody being like, you can't do that.
JB, that's why I think it's so dope, your podcast that you have, right? It's like you don't need to do that, right?
No, you can't have a plan all the time. Your life is your journey. So you can't burn bridges. You can't step on toes. You can't afford it. You can't afford a misstep. You got to learn from your mistakes. Don't make people feel bad. Don't step on toes. For me, it's never a competition. My thing on stage, if there's 5 comedians on stage, it's 5 comedians. My thing is make sure the people have a good time. So my podcast is just like that. My podcast is, and my podcast was just fun. My podcast is called May I Elaborate. I take these positive affirmations and I JB Smoove them. My partner and I, Miles.
Said I JB Smoove.
Yeah, you just take them and you re-explain them to people what you think they mean. And I just elaborate on them.
With all of that, what you've done, the podcast is great. You still get confused for Raphael Warnock every now and again, right?
You know what? This is, no, I'm gonna break it down. This is funny.
Confused with people.
No, this is hilarious. Watch this. Watch what I'm gonna do to you. This is so crazy. It's so crazy. So, me and John Sally used to get it, right? They'll say, oh, John Sally, you like JB? They'll say, hey, man, I love your work, Mr. Sally. Or they'll say, hey, one time I had it's crazy. If he's sitting down in a restaurant, they'll be like, hey, man, I love your work on Curb Enthusiasm.
Okay.
He tells me this all the time. I said, then one time I was talking to a guy for 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden he said, man, I just always loved you, man, Mr. Sally. I said, man, you think I'm John Sally? But here's the funny thing, look. They think me and John look alike, right? But they think I look like Mr. Warnock, right? But Mr. Warnock don't look like John Sally. Isn't that crazy? I get Inspector Deck also. I get Inspector Deck all the time. So it's like 4 of us.
But JB, one thing, you dress better than Warnock, John Sally, and Inspector Deck.